Still turning. Oh, there we are. Yay, we did it. Boy, that took a little while. When five planets are in retrograde, it's kind of hard to miss. So I have the most amazing guest today on Meditation Millionaire. Her name is Carlee Wolfe. What a great name. What a powerful, great name. Just your name alone, Carlee, is amazing.
I appreciate it.
I'm just going to tell you a little bit. So, Carlee helps leaders grow across organizations, in communities, and through personal coaching. So, with that, I bring you Carlee Wolfe. Carlee, what else do you want to tell us about yourself?
Well, thanks so much for the warm welcome. In terms of other things to know about me, I'm just really passionate about leadership and leading with purpose. And I think that can show up in a lot of different ways for people. And, you mentioned organizations, community, and one-on-one. That's how we do the work. I also do a lot of volunteering here in Baltimore, which is Baltimore, Maryland, which is where I live. And that is through adaptive sports programming. And so basically that's working with kids with disabilities. And I do everything from my big sport is sitting volleyball. And then I also support in the community. I do all kinds of stuff. We could do anything from wheelchair basketball to bocce to track and field to tennis. So it just kind of is on a cycle, just like any youth sports programming that you might engage with.
To make sure we're live on Facebook. Excellent. So, tell us what you have planned for 2026. What's new?
Yeah, I think the big things for me in 2026 is when I want to continue my community impact. This year for me, it was really about nonprofit boards and getting set up and figuring out a path that worked for me and where I thought I could be supportive. And for next year, I think it'll be continuing to grow on that. Like, where can I deepen impact? Being able to tell more stories of people that I work with. So maybe that's in some writing, maybe that's some spotlight series. So that's will continue my focus here in Baltimore. And from a organizational perspective and one-on-one standpoint, the future of work and how things are transpiring in work and workplace through AI is a really hot topic for me. I want to make sure people are really thinking about the skills that they want to develop in their careers and how organizations and communities can be intentional about being inclusive and not leaving anyone behind as we think further about reinvention at work. So I think that's still about storytelling. That's about engaging. That's about creating systems and work where I can be helpful. And, I mentioned earlier about like my passion around leadership. I think that's about how do you also lead in times of major transformation, and in this case, an AI transformation. I think this is an opportunity where people can connect in different ways. They can be authentic. They can be reskilling. And so that's another big focus for me in 2026. So lots of fun stuff ahead.
Awesome. How can you use AI in your current position?
AI can be used in a lot of ways. I think a couple of my favorites, I'll just say across the spectrum, is I'll pick an easy one around ChatGPT. I love the idea of like creating GPTs and using them for thought partners, for tool creation, for resource support. And for those that aren't familiar with those things, it's sort of like creating this agent or persona that can act as. And so things like, for example, let's say I'm about to meet with a leader and I want to best prepare for that meeting. Maybe I have a GPT that is representative of an executive at a large organization that's really busy and has priorities of, creating a new marketing plan and entering the market differently. I go to that GPT and I say, hey, how can I best position the business case or the idea that I'm bringing forth to this person? What are top things I might want to think about? What might be some counterpoints that they might bring to the table? So in other words, it's sort of this like, first of all, it's like augmenting and helping me think, but it's increasing my depth of thinking, creating different perspectives I may not have. So that's one thing, is really these using GPTs. I've also been in conversation lately about adding more efficiencies. And so something just as simple as asking again, I will stay on the GPT train here, which is just that basically ask like, hey, I am a coach, and here's how I work with people in my organization or in my community. Here are my general tasks. Give me 5 things that might add 5 to 10% efficiency in my role. What are those? How can I apply them, etc. So again, it's a thought partner, but it used in different ways. I think that that's a big way that I've been applying that. So efficiency, depth of thought partnership has been a lot of fun.
That's exciting. I
Yeah.
love AI. I am not very techy at all. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
little bit older than you are. And I'm not Miss Techie. We didn't get computers when I was in high school. But I love AI. I've been using AI for about, I want to say about 3 years now. I have one so one of my coaches is Robert J. Moore, and his coach is Armin Morin. And Armin Morin actually is Russell Bronson's coach as well. So he created his own AI. So I've been using his for about 3 years. And then I have one with Bank Code, as you know, and then of course one with APL Go. And that's just those two. I think I have one more somewhere and I can't remember where. Anyways, it's
Find your AI.
I really like it. It's really fun. Well, because with Bank Code, it helps me write in all 4 personalities. So that's fantastic for marketing. The one with APL Go keeps me compliant because I always want to say things like, I overdo it. There's certain things we're not really allowed to say that this will help heal this and this disease. So I always want to say it and we're not really allowed. So that's that. Anyway, So I love it. I think AI is very exciting.
Yeah. So you sounds like you use it for a lot of like thought partnership as well, like personalization, understanding others, which is cool. And I think it's great. And it also like it gives you a leg up, and then you also kind of have your like, how does this apply for my voice, or how I want to think about things, which I think is another important step. Like, right, we're not losing like that humanness. We're just using something to kind of help us move forward and be more effective.
That's right. It's fun. It's super fun. And so you're a coach. Do you want to say which company you're with? Are we allowed?
Sure. I mean, in my organizational work, I work at Hyatt Hotels. I support leadership development and org effectiveness. So that kind of like runs the gamut in supporting. I mean, at the core, it's helping people in their careers, right? Creating the environment where they feel like they can succeed, creating the systems and support to provide development, ensure people are focused on the things that matter most, and that they get those development needs met. So that's the Hyatt role.
And then tell us about your personal coaching.
Yeah, and I work one-on-one on folks in their career pivots. I think for me, it's been the big ecosystem of how do I support careers at the organization? How do I help people advance in their communities? That's my nonprofit work. And then the one-to-one work is working with folks on where they might feel stuck, right? Thinking about like their next career move and where they want to go. How do you get that clarity? How do you build a plan? It's a tough market right now, both in the literal market and how people are thinking about their jobs. But I also think in terms of where roles and work is evolving as a result of AI. And AI is impacting in different industries at different paces. So it may not be a big deal for everybody, but I think it's certainly something for everyone to be thinking about.
So much fun. So much fun. So tell us some of your success, or maybe one success, maybe your biggest success of 2025 so far.
Biggest success of 2025. I really think it's about how I've been engaging here in Baltimore. Actually, I'll pull it back a little bit, like thinking about community. And I think that's showing up in 2 ways. One is in Baltimore and the support in the city. I think the big one being around my service in the City of Baltimore Workforce Development Board. We've really been thinking about how to move the hospitality industry forward here, removing barriers to entry, making investments that matter most that can help with employment. And then the other part around community is this whole AI conversation. And I put AI and Baltimore in the same community bucket, largely just because I think there's some values there, like how we're connecting and understanding one another, how we're thinking about the advancement of skills, how we're not leaving people behind, where we're making investments that matter. So for me, that's been the biggest success. And I hang my hat there because I think it's also been some personal work, like what matters to me, and then how do I bring that to others? And so, traditionally it's been, kind of like behind the scenes, like volunteer work, getting things done. And I still do that. But this year I've also been sharing these stories. A lot of it's on LinkedIn, just different like thoughts. I've been talking with a lot of different leaders to share their like learnings and lessons. And I just hope this is organic conversation that other people can tap into to help them in how they think about leading or engaging and fulfilling ultimately like how they want to lead in their spaces.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have a question that's a little unconventional. I usually ask all of my guests this really funky question. If you had an hour to sit down and have a coffee with anyone in the entire world, dead or alive, relative or someone famous, who would be the 5 people that you would choose?
Oh, 5 people.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't. This is a tough question. I mean, you've given me 5. Usually, it's like really hard for me to narrow down to 1, so that's a struggle for me.
Yeah, 5's a lot easier because then you don't have to just have one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start with one that maybe is not like the most profound, but something I appreciate, in that I have been a longtime fan of Tina Fey. I think that she brings a lot of joy in the world. I appreciate her humor. I think she has like amazing woman leadership, like as she would say, boss pants, I think was the name of her book. And so there's a lot I appreciate in how she shows up. She's also spent a lot of time in Chicago. That's where I grew up, and so it takes after my own heart. But I think just something I've been working on is how to continue to be authentic and show up in different ways in different places, and that's authentically me. And I think there's a lot that comes out in improv and how to do that. So I think that'd be an interesting connection. I think maybe Harriet Tubman. I live in Maryland, and she is an icon here, and I mean, and in the United States, around her contributions of moving slaves to freedom. And I think that as I've lived here, I've learned a lot more about that history and the literal paths that she and her mission walked. And so to learn more from her, both in her leadership, but that sort of like historical reference would be very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
These are good ones. I'm trying to like think off the top of my head. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm trying to, I think community leaders, folks that are maybe even people that we don't know that have been making an impact. I'd love to like hear what they've been doing. I think those who have pursued their dream and come out top. So like Martin Luther King, maybe of really facing that adversity. I feel like I have strong convictions, but at the same time, it takes a lot to find voice and to be clear with people and what that conviction is. So I really appreciate that. So I'm just kind of thinking out loud with you, but for me, those are like the things I would like to learn, and maybe a few people to connect with on, and what I would take away from that. I don't know, what's like your number one? I'm sure you've heard from a lot of people and have given time. Like, where are you landing on that question?
So I have Nelson Mandela.
That's a great one.
I have my mom and my grandmother and Dalai Lama.
These are like profound examples. I love this.
And the Pope. Those are my peeps. Those are my immediate 5, but I could go on and on. But yeah, those are my immediate 5. Yeah. Like I'd love to speak to Gandhi. I'd love to speak to Mother Teresa. Like there's so many.
Yeah, that's great. I would add, I mean, the family inspiration is a big one. I would add my grandma on my mom's side. I just never met her. Seems like she had a fascinating story and way of living, and would love to like hear more about that.
Yeah, I would like to maybe also speak to my grandfather because I miss him. He was pretty awesome. Yeah, doesn't have to be anyone, super spectacular, but yeah, these are some of the people I'd like to speak to. It's
Yeah.
fun. And it helps me learn about people, and it says a lot about you, right? Like what is important to you and why do you think that person is important. So
Yeah.
but,
Yeah,
so
for
that's
sure. That was like my improv moment of like, I can't think of immediate names, but here's the things that I'd like to learn. So for sure.
yeah, sometimes you can't and sometimes you can, but yeah, Nelson Mandela is like one of my top because I would love to talk to him and find out what in the heck went on while you were out there.
For sure.
Just stuff like that. And then my mom, and just because I miss her, and my grandmother,
Yeah,
just would
totally.
love to have some space and time with them. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
It makes
Yeah.
total sense. It makes total sense.
Yeah. If you could live anywhere else other than where you live, because I love Baltimore. I've been there. I've actually stayed there for an entire week, and I went there to a conference. I have some friends that live in the area, some colleagues that I work with, and of course, Jose, the CEO of CLA or Connected Leaders Academy. He lives in Maryland as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I love Maryland. I think it's beautiful, 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 beautiful. Like so much greenery around there. I love it. Other than there, like where else, if you could choose anywhere in the world, like forget the passport situation, forget about visas and all that, where would you live if you could pick and choose, and why?
Yeah. I think with unlimited options, I probably would pick maybe somewhere in Europe. Maybe somewhere in France. I think that there's a lot of amazing culture there. It's pretty central to be able to like travel and connect. And I say Europe just because I think there's so many different countries and cultures and opportunities to learn and to engage and be a part of history. And I think that would just be phenomenal.
So nowhere in particular in Europe, just France.
Yeah, I think I'd want to like do a little exploring and figure out where. But I mean, I've been to Paris. I've been to surrounding cities. I think there's more to gain there. I mean, maybe Paris just because it's a centralized city and I love living in cities. But I didn't want to be too cheesy in that response. But I think that that's just like there's. I mean, even in that country, there's so much to learn and explore. Like different landscapes, so much different history, different. Uh, Production, like you have like champagne, you have wine, you have all of like just a couple of things. There was so
All the
much
good foods there.
exactly. So and I do not speak French at all. I like took it in junior high. When I go to France, I feel like I can like absorb the environment, speak the language. But maybe if I live there, I could pick up on some more stuff. So I think that that'd be another fun thing to add to the list of why France.
Yes. France is beautiful. I've been to France. So I did live in Europe. I lived there. I was born in Europe. So I was born in Croatia. I came to Canada with my parents, of course, when I was 6 years old. But I did go back when I was 19, and I went to university for a year. And then I ended up staying for 12 years and ended up getting married. I had my own clothing store. I had actually Spa and Wheels when that wasn't even really a thing.
Okay.
So it was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And when you live in Europe, everything is close by. It's like 2 hours and you're in a different country, an hour in some cases, 3 hours. Like we used to go shopping to Italy. So I've been to Italy like maybe 20 times or more.
See, that's incredible. That'd be like the benefit of being out there, or one of the many.
Yeah, I love Italy. I would totally live there, totally, but I would pick a small town somewhere in the southern part. And I love Switzerland. Which is totally different, completely different. Austria as well.
Yeah.
I really, really like it. There's parts that I haven't been to that I'd like to go check out, but Switzerland was one of my favorite countries to be in. I was there for a full, I think, 15 days actually altogether, 16
Love
maybe
that.
altogether. And it was really, really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I've not been there yet, but it is on the list. I've heard great things. So I'm glad you were able to spend a couple weeks plus there. That's amazing.
Yeah. That and Austria too. We used to go shopping to Austria a lot. So I've been to Austria a lot. Plus my dad used to work there. So I've been there a few times.
Mm.
And I had spent some time in the war when I was in Croatia. So when I finally left, we had to kind of drive in the middle of the night, and we had to drive to Vienna. So Vienna has a really warm spot in my heart because I had to leave for Canada twice from there. So that was kind of cool. And just a lot of countries, and Italy's one of my favorite countries. I mean, the food, the people, the friendliness, just all of it is history. I mean, you name it, the beaches, it's got everything.
Yes.
There isn't one terrible thing in there, really, except for the driving. Oh my gosh, driving in Europe is tough.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I think trains is the way to go for me.
If you're vacationing, definitely. But I did have to live there, so I did have to drive there. But yeah, it was cool.
Love it. Italy's also on my list. See, there's so many things to do in the world and to explore and to experience. And I love what you said about people. I have found everywhere I travel, as long as you're like curious, respectful, and engaged, like people are amazing. Like there is a connectedness in many everywhere around the world, actually, in that. So I was just reflecting when you mentioned that in Italy, and I was like, I've met great people every place I've been.
Italy's fun. I have never been to Australia and New Zealand. Somehow energetically that appeals to me very much.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that I might like to live there somewhere.
Okay.
Once I get there, I'm gonna think that, and then I have some people that I know that have lived in Bali and places like that. So I was supposed to go to the Maldives and do some speaking there this year, and I had to change some stuff around. So I'm hoping to still get there. I don't think I want to necessarily live there, but I think that's definitely a top place where I want to visit for sure. Do you have a top place that you want to visit that you haven't been to yet?
Yeah, I think in the Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos area, that's been on my list for quite some time, and it's it will happen in the coming years. Just gotta find land the right timing. I've also been trying to get down to Colombia, so like Bogota and kind of the surrounding spaces. I've heard really, really good things. So those two are top for me right now. And I think you should go to Australia and New Zealand. I have spent a decent amount of time in Australia. I studied abroad there. I've also been back. New Zealand, also phenomenal. So those are both very lovely places. Beautiful, speaking of amazing people. And I mean, the culture is phenomenal. A lot of respect for the environment and each other. And I think that's it's one of my favorite places. Those are both some of my favorite places in the world for those reasons.
When I was turning 60, that was my plan, to go on a cruise. And I was going to hit up New Zealand, Australia, Bali, and a few other Cook Islands and that kind of thing. But then we all shut down. The world shut down. I couldn't go anywhere, so that was it. So I ended up
definitely didn't want to be on a cruise ship at that time. That's for sure.
No, well, we couldn't because there was nothing flying out. So
yeah, for sure.
Couldn't even get there, let alone anything else. It was too funny. But yeah, that's definitely on my huge bucket list. So
good.
If you could achieve any big, gigantic, audacious goal, what would that be? And if you could do it in 2026, what would that be?
Is it 2026? I mean, I think so. I mentioned I work in adaptive sports, and I've been what I didn't mention was I do some work with USA Sitting Volleyball in their pipeline programs, and so I've been doing that for a number of years. I've been working on different ways I can engage. So I think in 2026, an achievable goal would be to continue to evolve how I can make an impact of their leadership development, how are athletes thinking about their ongoing journey as leaders. I'd say big aspirational at some point in life. I'd love to represent the United States of America in some sort of international competition. So that for me is sort of like peak contribution, and like an athlete in that space, it might take a number of years, but that is something that I am working towards, and I think would be absolutely incredible. And I think big life goal. I mean, because I'm in the people business, I hope that I make an impact on people's lives. Like as I don't know, maybe that's being known for something here in Baltimore or with the people I work with. But I'm still figuring that out for myself. I don't know if that's, is that, I don't know, like a book? Is that a program? Is that just continual contribution over the years to sum up like, wow, I've like really, really made an impact on people's lives in these spaces. So I think it's a good question. Maybe some work to continue to do on like what would be, I'll call it like legacy on the things that I'm doing. But yeah, I love that. That's a takeaway for me of if I could like really, really big blow it out, what would that look like?
Nice. Sounds fun. Sounds exciting. I love hearing this. These are my favorite things about people. It's we always need to talk about what people do because that's part of why they come here. But I love hearing the in-depth things that are inside of your soul, things that make you, you get excited. Oh gosh.
Oh no. Speaking of excitement.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute myself so you can give us some final words.
Okay. Well, as you were talking about these sessions and your appreciation for people and sharing, I think for me, these are always helpful because you ask great questions and gives us an opportunity, or me, or an opportunity to reflect on that one big question I'm taking away, but also as I continue to think about where I can help people in their careers and why that matters. So I appreciate the forum to do that. And I always like to leave people with in any journey that you're on, like you and I are talking about travel, we're talking about big picture, I'm talking about careers, all of these things can feel overwhelming, maybe out of reach for people. And I always just encourage, like, just take that first step. Like, where do you want to begin? So if others are thinking and taking away from our dialogue around like, what's their big dream? Like, well, what's your one step? For me, my first step is to like think a little bit further about it. And then to your great coaching question, what do I want to do in 2026 to make that happen? So I hope this inspires others to explore, whether it's explore the world or explore themselves. And I'm always happy to connect to continue those conversations. So thank you so much for having me.
Perfect. And where's the best place for people to connect with you?
Yeah, they can find me on LinkedIn. So Carlee Wolfe, also aceandarrowconsulting.com. Either one of those is a great place to connect and continue the dialogue.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Carlee. You're also on Facebook, right?
I am on Facebook. They can find me there as well.
There you go. Facebook and LinkedIn it is, and her website. So there you go. Maybe we can get you to put that link into the chat on my Facebook page, and then you can also share it onto yours. And this is also on my LinkedIn. And so that brings us to the end. Thank you all so much for joining us for another episode of Mditation Millionaire. And thank you, Carlee, so much for being an amazing guest.
Yes,
and let's do a 1-minute meditation. Everybody take a deep breath in. Oh my goodness. And there we go. Before we get another, I think they're just testing it out. So thank you all so much for joining us. Have a great day. Gosh, leave it to real life. You got to stay authentic, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.